hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for Pocket with Joe. Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. It's time for Puckett with Joe. I'm Jo Madden. You can follow me on Jo Madden Sports on all social media. And if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button over on YouTube so that you don't miss out on any of the free videos that I'm giving out. You can expect to get some of my Cup of Joes and then my Puckett with Joes over here. The Cup of Joes do focus on other sports other than hockey. And of course, Puckett with Joe, we're talking everything out there on the ice. Now on the weekend, expect a Puckett Cup of Joe as we do break down those games, but not all of the games in a lot of the cases on the weekend with so much going on with college football and NFL as we start rolling into just NHL season after Super Bowl. We will have more live shows on the weekend so that we get you all those bets that you want. But you guys, we're breaking down the 4 games out there on the ice. Now, there was some dogs barking on the ice yesterday. So it was great to see because you knew I liked those dogs out there. So yesterday we did see the Dallas Stars just destroy the Montreal Canadiens. I didn't expect that. We've seen Dallas be really strong versus Montreal, but I expected Montreal to get back in the win column. They got shut out in that game. Dallas won at 7-0. That was a huge shocker for me. Boston wasn't able to get the second win versus the Ottawa Senators. The Senators got a 5-3 win at home. Taking the over in that one did cash, but the Boston Bruins as a dog didn't. Boston's been on such a tear. Sad to see them lose that one. Now, the Ducks weren't quacking. Detroit did get the win. We did see the LA Kings roll into Toronto and get the win. We saw 2 goals out of Toronto in that first period. So the over 1.5 come and cash nicely in that first period, as well as the over in the game. Now, Florida took care of Washington on their home ice 6-3. The Columbus Blue Jackets were barking. We got the win with Columbus over the Edmonton Oilers. They did move into that favorite role as we went on during the day, once an underdog going into that one. Calgary, shocker, got a shutout win over the San Jose Sharks 2-0. I expected the Sharks offense to be able to really come to play in that one. It didn't happen. We cashed Buffalo's team total over 2.5. They were competitive with the Avs until the very end. That one went into the third period 4-3. We did see Colorado close it out with 2 goals in the third period, winning at 6-3. So the over 2.5 for Buffalo coming in nicely. We got the Islanders barking there in Vegas. Vegas now losing another game. They're headed back out on the road tomorrow, though, so Vegas should be able to start getting things right this weekend. And then the Winnipeg Jets, they didn't go over their 3.5 goals. They stumbled versus Seattle. This is the second straight loss to Seattle. Seattle shut them out in the first game 3-0, and then they lost yesterday to the Seattle Kraken 5-3. So disappointed to see what we saw out of the Winnipeg Jets. Fast start in that game. We saw a goal apiece in the first. We saw 2 goals out of Winnipeg in the second. 1 out of Seattle, and then Seattle closed it out with 3 goals to end it. So Seattle was the home dog that was barking in that, but it was an absolute crazy night out there on the ice. That is for sure. Irish King, good morning to you. So good morning to each and every one of you. It's nice to see you guys joining me here. Like I said, 4 games on deck today, and we're going to break down each and every one of these games. The bookmarks will be up at the end, so if you can't stick around, make sure you do come back. I'll bookmark these games so you can go over the ones you like. But if you're in the live chat here, or if you're watching on Instagram, just looking at you guys watching on Instagram, come on over to YouTube so you can interact in that live chat. Same with everyone on X. I just don't see those comments come up. So questions, comments are always welcome on this show. That's why I love to do it live. I really do feed off of you guys coming in here. But that was yesterday. Let's move on to today. It's time to make some freaking money and make it big, rolling into the weekend. We need a solid Friday out here, you guys. And these games are kicking off in Sweden. If you didn't hear that the Global Series is kicking off in Sweden today, well, you're not the only one. There's just the NHL, really, the media, you just don't hear a lot. Even I'm like so entranced with hockey, but you hear it so late. You have to remember what's going on. So 2 games over in Sweden for the Penguins and the Predators. I do think you circle the Swedish players to come out really strong. Erik Karlsson won for the Pittsburgh Penguins and Philip Forsberg for the Nashville Predators. I'm looking at both of those guys to have a strong game. We know this should be a fast-paced game. We're looking at a Predators team that has struggled to score, but giving up those goals as well. And the Pittsburgh Penguins, after losing their last 2, they're going to be looking to get back on track. So they have a league leading power play that's clicking at 35.7%. They have that fast pace, and that's what really does win them these games. Now, this team got off to a fast start, but with injuries and everything happening, they have really come back down to earth. They've gone 4-3-3 in their last 10 games and not where they want to be sitting. But the Nashville Predators are in a worse situation. They've lost their last 5. Looking at their last 10, they've gone 2-6-2. They sit second last in the league, just in front of the Calgary Flames. So this team is struggling to keep the puck out of their net. They're also struggling to score those goals. Saros between the pipes tonight for them, and Silvos here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm looking, like I said, at the Swedish players, but I also think the Pittsburgh Penguins come out win. And this one goes over that total. Now, looking at the lines in this, the Penguins are a -126 favorite over in Sweden. You got to be a little careful taking bets on these overseas games. And I don't know how you guys feel. I'm looking at the Swedish players. Pittsburgh, I do think they win it and they cover the spread. I think this is, a 5-3 style win here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So if you're willing to lay the puck line, it's +198. Be cautious with these overseas games. So you don't know how the travel's gone. Maybe a couple of these superstar players got really bad sleeps. Maybe they're enjoying a lot of the sights over in Sweden. You just don't know really what is going on over there for them. This total of 6.5, I expect us to cruise over. It's +102 to the over. And I think that's because people just not expecting much out of the Predators in this. But I think Forsberg returning to Sweden, he's going to have a big day. So I looked at a couple of things. I did put a little sprinkle on the puck line for the Pittsburgh Penguins, -1.5 at +168. I took Erik Karlsson for 2+ points, and I'll give you those odds again. Let me just make sure those odds are still the same. Erik Karlsson is -156 for 1 point. So I can't go there, but I do think he can get 2 now. He is a defenseman out there. So that's your concern. He's +320 for 2+ points. And I think it is a great way to go. Then on the other side for Forsberg here, I'm looking at Forsberg for the points as well. You got to take him to 2. He's +220 for 2+ points. I also think it's a nice way to take him for the goal. If you want to take Erik Karlsson for the goal, I don't blame you as well, because he has been able to net one. He shoots that puck from the blue line, and he will look to make an impact on his home ice. So looking at Forsberg, it's +155. Looking for the goal, looking at Erik Karlsson, it's +380. I do think both of those are worth a sprinkle as well. Now, Sidney Crosby and Malkin, we know, have been the stars here of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Look for them to really be impactful in this game as well. I want to put out a missing persons banner for Steven Stamkos. So you guys, where the heck has Steven Stamkos been this season? Is going out of America, traveling, or North America and traveling here to Sweden, going to make Stamkos show up? Because he just has 3 goals and 1 assist on the season. This isn't like Stamkos, and I do think we can look at him for an impact in this game over in Sweden. He has to wake up for sure. Yeah, Karlsson and Forsberg for a point. You can just parlay those 2 for a point as well. Like I said, you got to be cautious with these games over in Sweden, but I see this being a 5-3 style game. Pittsburgh covers the spread. Erik Karlsson gets a goal. Erik Karlsson gets a point. Forsberg gets 2+ points and a goal. So that's where I'm going with that game. Let's jump into the next game here. We have the matchup between the Vancouver Canucks and the Carolina Hurricanes. So looking at this one, Vancouver is entering as a dog at +215, and rightly so. So many injuries on this team. We're going to get into the injuries. Both of these teams have backup goaltending in. Frederik Andersen for Carolina is out with a concussion. He's day-to-day. Demko's out with lower body, expected to miss a couple of weeks. He's listed as day-to-day, but I think it's going to be a couple of weeks here. But also the Vancouver Canucks are missing Quinn Hughes. We know how impactful Quinn Hughes is for the Vancouver Canucks. He is leading this team tied with Elias Pettersson for points. So having Quinn Hughes out of the lineup is massive. We've also got Carolina off a loss. Carolina is deadly at home, and off a loss, I think they bounce back. So looking at Carolina, they're such a large favorite here, almost a $3 favorite. Got to lay the puck line -1.5. It's still -105, so you'll have to lay juice, but I just don't see it unfolding any other way than Carolina winning this and winning it big. I talk about Fridays. They're freaky Fridays. You see the dogs barking, but Carolina off a loss. I can't get behind the Vancouver Canucks with these injuries. So I'd look at Carolina puck line laying 1.5 at -105. You could also look at their team total over 3.5. I expect this team to score 4 or 5 goals. I don't expect them to lock down on the defensive side and play like a 2-1 style game. They could, though. You look at the defense, top 10 defense, only allowing 2.88 goals per game. So they could lock down and once they get up by 2, not allow Vancouver to really get things going. So this could be a 2-1 style. So that's your only worry with their team total is what they're going to do. But with backup goaltending on both sides, I think we're going to see Carolina scoring and scoring at will. The defense in front of the goaltending for Vancouver hasn't been solid all season. They're allowing 3.5 goals per game. And like in between the pipes has an 885 save percentage of 3.56 goals against average. And it's not all his fault. It is that defense in front of it. And without Quinn Hughes out there, I think there's going to be major struggles for the Vancouver Canucks. So look for Carolina to be able to come out nice and strong. Remember, they're off that disappointing loss to the Washington Capitals 4-1 in their last game out. The Vancouver Canucks have lost their last 2. Tuesday's loss was to the Winnipeg Jets 5-3. This is the first game of 3 out there on the road for Vancouver. They have the Lightning on Sunday and the Panthers on Monday. So those back-to-back loadings, they will be off tomorrow. And then this is the first night of a back-to-back for Carolina. That's your other concern here. They do have the Oilers on deck tomorrow. Then 4-game road trip will be kicking off on Monday. So once they get that lead, you guys, maybe Carolina in the first period on that puck line is where you want to look. That's still going to get you laying a little bit of juice, but the puck line in the first period, look for them to come out strong to try to right the ship off of that loss. Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis, those will be your playmakers for Carolina. Yeah, the Canes should win this by 3. You're right. That's how it should play out. The look ahead for Edmonton tomorrow gives me a little bit of concern in the third period. They just locked down on the defensive side of things. You would want them to get this lead early in this game. So that's why I'm liking the first period. Stamkos has lost his mojo. You look at him. He has been fantastic over his career. He's just going through. And yeah, who is Stamkos? Steven Stamkos of the Nashville Predators. Who is he? Where is he? And why has he not shown up this season? So 4 points on the season, just not nice. I'd look at Malkin for the assist if you're going between the two. I love Malkin and Sidney Crosby and what they're able to do out there with each other on the ice. Okay, we then have the Flyers taking on the St. Louis Blues. St. Louis, I tell you, this team right now, they need to get a win. They're coming in as a favorite versus the Philadelphia Flyers. So the St. Louis Blues are a -140 favorite with their struggles on the season. It's really hard to choke up that and lay -140 with this team. You could take it down to reg. I think we just go over 5.5. Leaky goaltending here for the St. Louis Blues. And I know the Flyers don't score a lot of goals, but you're looking at Trevor Zegras, Michkov, and you've got playmakers that can score. And the St. Louis Blues will just have to keep up. I would take this one over the 5.5. Again, this isn't my favorite game of the whole slate. This is my least favorite of the 3 out there because I just don't know what we're going to get out of both sides in this game. You got Dan Vladar between the pipes here for the Philadelphia Flyers, who was brilliant in that game versus Edmonton. They should have won that. They got an offside call before it went to overtime, but that offside call before the offside, it resulted in a goal, and then it was called offside and taken back. And they would have got the win versus Edmonton. Dan Vladar, I love everything about him here, but I look at the St. Louis Blues team and I think they're in kind of desperation mode. You look at them. They are 3-4-3 at home this season. They've only won 6 of their first 17 games, but we have seen over the last 5 them picking things up. They've gone 3-1-1. So they're looking to turn things back around. It could have been 4-1, except we did see that last minute buzzer beater there by Seattle to get the win in that game. I believe it was Saturday. So there's opportunities here for St. Louis. Jordan Binnington has to play better between the pipes. Jordan Binnington has been leaky. He's got a 3.21 goals against average and an 873 save percentage. I do think the defense in front of him needs to stand up better, and they need to get that puck out of their zone to be able to give him that support. So there are those struggles. St. Louis has Vegas on deck tomorrow. I talked about Vegas. They lost their last, 3 or 4 at home. Last night, I think equals 4 or 3, whatever it is. Vegas is on a losing streak. I think they get it back tomorrow versus the St. Louis Blues. But St. Louis, I think, has every opportunity of getting the win tonight. So it's going to be hard. The Philadelphia Flyers shoot a lot from the perimeter. They're going to have to try to get more in front of the net. I do think they have the ability here, but Rick Tocchet really has this team playing Rick Tocchet hockey, right? You look at them, they are locking down on the defensive side of things. They're playing defensive hockey. They're not scoring a lot. They're winning the games that they win in low scoring fashion, but I do think the Blues will push them into a faster pace. I also think Dan Vladar off that big game versus the Edmonton Oilers kind of allows a couple more in, a 5.5 because of the empty netter situation as well. This could be 3-2, and then the Flyers pull down Vladar, and then we see it go over the 5.5 because of the empty netter out there for the St. Louis Blues. So I got to take the over 5.5 in this one. St. Louis, I think, gets a win at home. I know there's not a lot of firepower on both sides, but I think this is a sneaky one to that over. I'm going to take Robert Thomas because I do think the Blues get the win. He has to get 2+ points for the Blues to get the win. I'll take Robert Thomas for 2+ points. Michkov on the other side, he is on a hot streak for the Flyers. He's been able to get a goal in the last 3. Give me Michkov at almost 3-1 to your money to get a goal. And then Trevor Zegras. He's got 4 goals and 12 assists for 16 points. Look at Trevor Zegras to step up as well. Blues today, Vegas tomorrow, all freaking day. I love it. That's exactly how I'm rolling. Vegas gets back on track tonight. And yeah, Robert Thomas, he's a great one to circle out there. Last game, you guys, we're flying through this today. And again, I appreciate you guys for being here. Only thing I ask is you hit that like button for me over here on YouTube. Share it with a friend too, so we get the word out about Pocket with Joe here on the daily. So the New York Islanders, wow, we got them as a barking dog last night versus Vegas. Now they're rolling into Utah. The Islanders, I do think fatigue will set in by the end of this game. They went to overtime last night versus the Vegas Golden Knights. Now they're a +164 underdog coming into Utah. Utah, we were able to get to cover the puck line in the last game versus the Sabres, but that started off slow, you guys. It looked like the Sabres were going to be able to pull something off. Utah finally pulled away, covering us that puck line. It was that 5-2 win by the Utah Mammoth. I'm expecting Utah to have a similar style game in this one. We know the Islanders, when you think about them over the years, the Islanders are that strong defensive form, got Sorokin between the pipes. They lock down. They don't allow their opponents to get those high danger shots. That's not happening this season. This team is averaging over 3 goals per game, allowing over 3 goals per game. Sorokin just isn't that force between the pipes that we've all seen. Now, it's not Sorokin tonight. It's Rittich coming in. Now, he has a 3.41 goals against average and an 886 save percentage. Vermalka's coming in for Utah. Vermalka's been great. 2.84 goals against average and an 882 save percentage. So the save percentage is down. We need to see the defense give him more support. They're allowing over 3 goals per game as well, and they're averaging over 3 goals per game. So looking at this one, I got to look for a hot start in this game for both of these teams to start. I said versus the Sabres, Utah got off to a slower start, but I do think with Rittich between the pipes, we're going to see both Utah and the Islanders score in the first period. Both teams to score in the first period at +150. If you like laying juice, which you know I don't, you could just look at the over 1.5. It's -148. I can't touch a -148 juice, you guys. My limit is -144, and still, even at that, I have to absolutely freaking love it. Like, love it beyond love it. I'll look at a lot of these ones and I'm like, I like this. This is where I'm going to go. I see a minus 144 and I stay off. I know juice tolerance is different for everyone. So let me know in the comments where your juice tolerance is. I like to get plus freaking money. If I think we're going over 1.5, it's normally because I think both teams are scoring. I'm not counting on one team to come out and really light that lamp twice. So I'll look at both teams to score. Hopefully Utah gets off to the hot start. We know the Isles will need to get off to a hot start because as this game goes on, tired legs will prevail. If we see the Isles go up first, absolutely come back in on Utah minus 1.5. You're going to get so much plus money. I'm going into the game with Utah minus 1.5 on the puck line. It's coming in at plus 116. If the Isles go up first, that's going to shoot up and I'm going to come back in on it. I'm putting a half a unit to start, saving the other half a unit in case the Islanders score first with Bo Horvat, just rolling and Matthew Barzal. So Utah is fantastic at home, and I can't go against them. They are 5-1 at home this season, 4-2 on that puck line. So I think they continue to roll here. Get another nice big win on the puck line at home. Look for Nick Smoltz to be impactful. Clayton Keller as well. Clayton Keller has 7 goals and 10 assists. Nick Smoltz rolling so hot. 10 goals and 11 assists. So Bo Horvat and Matthew Barzal on the other side have every opportunity of cashing it for us right away in that first period. But I think this ends up being a 4-2, 5-2 style win again here for Utah. So I'm all about the Mammoth tonight. That is for sure. Yeah, Blake, it's no problem that you're late. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Yeah, minus 120 is where you draw the line. And I don't blame you. There's sometimes, I hit that minus 144 mark, but it's very, very rare when I do. I appreciate you. Typically, parlays, 2 juicy lines, decent even money. Yeah, you can look at parlaying those. And that is a good way to go when you really feel that those 2 teams are going to be able to come out and get the win, putting that parlay together. I just love that plus money. And I'd rather look at my return on investment than, if someone's saying they went 3-1, but they went 3-1 on like $200 money line favorites. I'm looking at the return on investment. I'd rather go 2-2 with 4 underdogs and make that great plus money. So always look at your return on investment on your bets instead of those straight up records, you guys. But let's get into the recap. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you for joining me here. My phone is blowing up, so we're going to have to fly through this here. Always so much going on here on a Friday, but recap time. We have the Sweden series. This one, the puck will be dropping really quick. It's kicking off at 2:10 Eastern, you guys. So hopefully you're catching this before. Look at the Swedish players over here. Philip Forsberg for a goal and 2+ points. I'm going to bet both of those. I'm also going to look at Erik Karlsson for 2+ points and a goal. I think both of them have every opportunity of hitting. If you just want to look at Erik Karlsson and Philip Forsberg, parlay them for a point. I think it's another great way to go. I'm going to look at the Pittsburgh Penguins to win this and cover that puck line and this game to cruise over the total. When we look at the Vancouver Canucks and the Carolina Hurricanes, the Canes off a disappointing loss to the Capitals. I think they bounce back and bounce back hard. Backup goaltending in for both of these teams, and Quinn Hughes listed questionable day-to-day. I do think we see Carolina bounce back in a big way. Give me the Carolina Hurricanes covering the puck line, laying 1.5 in this one. They're just a deeper team, better coaching out here, and I think they get things done. When we look at the Flyers versus the St. Louis Blues, I think this is a sneaky over. I'll take it over 5.5, but I do think St. Louis gets a win at home. I just don't love that minus 140 mark. You could look at it in reg. I don't see this one going to overtime. I could see them winning it in a 4-2 style game because of an empty netter. I'm going to look at Robert Thomas for 2+ points. Mishkov on the other side for the Flyers for the anytime goal. Goal in the last 3. He is on fire right now, you guys. Look for him to stay hot. Trevor Seagrass would be another player you'd look at for the Flyers. Then the New York Islanders versus the Utah Mammoth. Give me the Utah Mammoth laying 1.5 on the puck line for the full game. Give me the first period, both teams to score at plus 150. And if the Isles go up, remember, come back in on Utah plus minus 1.5 on the puck line. You're going to have to shop on your books for that line. It's not automatically going to come up. They're going to move Utah to that underdog role, but look at the puck line laying the 1.5. I'm going to come back in on that. I've got a half a unit on Utah laying the 1.5 to go into it, and then I'll have the other half on Utah laying the 1.5 once if the Isles go up first. So you guys, that is it. I would look at Nick Smoltz for 2+ points and Clayton Keller for 2+ points from this game as well. It should be a good one. You got Philly for the win. Philadelphia Flyers. I don't blame you taking the Flyers for the win. They've got some great playmakers on this team. The St. Louis Blues have had those struggles. It's got to be question marks around coaching. Who do you think is the first NHL coach to be fired this season? Let's hear it, you guys, because we know these coaches go in a heartbeat. There is no heart in hockey for these coaches. They turn over quicker than any other sport, at least in my opinion. So let me know who you think the first NHL coach is going to be fired out there. But I appreciate each and every one of you so very much for joining me here today. Make sure you do check me out on Wager Talk, Picks and Parlays, and Betting Pros for all of my bets across all of the sports. You don't want to miss out on everything going on. My Cup of Joe will be out here shortly, so make sure you check that out. But you guys, all the best in all of your bets. Let's make some freaking money today. Until next time, stay hot, and we will see you for another Puck It with Joe tomorrow.